Action.
The action.
Right. Hello, everyone. As I don't have any EMI courses this semester, so I today invite my student to record a kind sort of EMI teaching demo to you. Okay. So since it's a demo, there is no student here, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what's my mechanism and how I manage that kind of course design. Okay. So the course is actually called English thematic seminars, okay, in which the language training is not the purpose of the course, but my goal is actually and to have my students have abilities to do deeper discussions in contemporary topics, okay. So my course is divided by sessions, and the sessions is related to the contemporary issues that happen in society nowadays, including aging societies or like recalls or friendships or whatever, depression, something like that. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about one of the sessions that I found most relevant to today's demo. That namely is the aging society and the low birth rate. Okay, so my goal is to have my student to have a better understanding of how these things are relevant and how they altogether affect the society altogether. Okay, so the goals and approaches are three. Okay, today's goal. Okay, the first goal is going to guide questions to help students understand the cause of declining birth rates ultimately. Meaning, as this problem is actually many people understood aging society as well as low birth rate is a separate issue. But they are actually relevant because that always associated with the very basic logic and how the society, how large and how few that society needs the marriage is an agent. Okay, so in that I'm going to use my class my class expects students to do like interactive discussion with the group. So you can imagine that students are divided into several groups in size of 3 to 5. Okay, and I will give them questions and I give them some sort of background information of what the topic is going to driven. And then they're going to be expected to discuss within a group and give me responses and share the answers to everybody else. Okay, and the criteria this course is designed is actually based on how often they speak rather than how well they speak. Meaning, I calculated the times that you try to express your ideas. Okay, and I don't mind the grammatical errors you made. Okay, as long as you are giving meaningful answers and those kind of thoughtful responses, even though the deficiency of language is markable. Okay, but I'm not going to be criticizing about students' ways of speaking. Okay, I only encourage them to express something. Okay, to try to make. If you don't have the lexical resources, then you try to use already existing knowledge to answer the questions. That's the purpose. Okay, so if you question whether or not my course is purely EMI, I would say yeah, sort of, but the approach is in the middle, in the gray areas of like content-based and language-based, in the middle of those. Okay, so that's the thing you need to know. Right, and right, that's the thing. Right, so I attempt to start questions like I use the applications I use most often is called Slido. Slido is kind of applications that require you enables teachers to do like you can set up open text questions or multiple choices or even word cloud. Okay, this session is word cloud. Okay, meaning for students if they can upload to Slido, they can give answers. Okay, and then they when they give like what comes to your mind when talking about low birth rate? Oh, it costs too much, right? Thank Jeff for a demo how this works. Okay, and if other people they're giving the same answers, then that word will be enlarged. Okay, so there are examples of how these kind of things acts. Okay, if you want to involve more people to join your class, it will be better. Okay, it's not a very ideal way to ask them to stand up or raise their hands or try to answer because that embarrasses them. And the best way, I think, they use something they feel most familiar with and comfortable with is the tool that is more ideal. Okay, and Slido has many ways. The function of Slido varies, and one of those are word cloud. And I will show you other functions later. Okay, but that will be a good start for them, or a good trigger for them to involve into a class in the beginning, and that part will take about like 3 minutes. Okay, you're going to waste an hour on word cloud. And in the beginning of the course, in the first part of the course, I try to suggest something because you are not going to ask them to talk like, hey, aging society is a very serious quite a problem in our society. Discuss, and that instruction will be quite nonsense. That contains nothing. So in every class, okay, I will try to provide enough background knowledge or information related to their daily life, okay, and I'll give them some classic like work or art, some sort of resources to demo. Then today the movie I'm going to play to them is like called the Ballad of Narayama. Yama. In Chinese it's called 游山节考, which is a very old film, okay, in which there is a, I probably, all of you have watched that or heard that kind of stories, like when you are at a very young age, okay, that describe how in the scarcities, properties of Japan cultures, okay, old peoples are sent to the mountains for death, for saving the resources. Okay, they're not going to spend like food or clothing on aging people, especially when the tribe or the species want to continue. Okay, so that's one of the things to describe how in the premises of very limited resources, how can we treat old people, okay? But if you think that the Ballad of Narayama was and some sort of a fantasy literatures out of realistic, it's not realistic, then let's talk about something that is more real, okay? The things that happened not long ago, okay, like in 3 years ago, okay, in the eras of COVID-19 pandemic, okay? A very touching, I would say, heartbreaking story was like a 72-year-old Italian old lady give up her own oxygen mask simply because she thinks that she deserved a good life and she had a very fulfilled life already. So she thinks that her sacrificial behavior may benefit another life. Okay, that sounds touching, but the thing is like in a society, in Italy, there's about I think that was about 80. I think 80% was the accurate number. 80% of the infectious patients are old people. Meaning when a population is getting aged, when some sort of a pandemic raged, old peoples will be the first group of people suffered. Okay, but they are undertaking or they're holding the majority of the properties of the society. So that will be a tricky question for every government or every nation to think about. If one day another pandemic took place in Taiwan, okay, which one should we sacrifice, and should we sacrifice them? Okay, that's a more accurate question to think about. Yeah, you can even recall questions like when if I believe all of you are probably at my age, from like 40ish or 50ish, okay, but just imagine or just remember a few years ago when the vaccines were applied to everyone else. Who are the first group and who are the last group that has right to take? And the answer is obvious, right? And I'm gonna explain to my students also about the numbers. That's the trick I play like most. Okay, I saw some sort of informations from like the internet. Okay, I search some statistic or data from mass media. Okay, and I gathering some information and ask them to guess. Okay, so in this part, students may have about 3 to 5 minutes to talk about and to discuss whether or not they can guess what the number, for example, 1 stands for, okay? And I can ask them to answer the questions and I give them bonus, okay? So always try to encourage students to answer, even it's wrong. And they are very likely to make mistakes, okay? And there are like 90% of possibilities making mistakes, especially when the numbers are so generous, okay, general and doesn't really stand for anything. But the truth is, you also have to show them the correct information afterwards, like this, okay? So the numbers are matching what the information has gave you, okay? Like Japanese has the world's highest population, so elderly citizens, with over 28% of the population aged 65 or older. Okay, so something like this. Okay, so in that case, student will have a more fulfilled or more rounded backgrounds of how that serious problem is taking place. Okay, then you're going to show them more close or more attaching informations that describe the questions to their own daily life, like. You're not going to just talk about Japan or Thailand or whatever. You talk about something relevant to them, so that will be the numbers happen in Taiwan. So in the next part, I can give them some sort of how different generations look at different opinions on whether or not we should get married, and explain why the low birth rate is very severe questions in Taiwan nowadays. Okay, so these are the numbers I gave them. Okay, you don't play the same game in an hour twice. Okay, so here you don't need that number again, but give them correct information. Like in last year, Taiwan had the fertility rate of 0.89 children, meaning each couples have less than fewer children in general. Okay, so that's one of the lowest in the world, or something like this. And you also play the relevance. Oh no, relevance short video to have them watch. Okay, so I'm not going to play that now. Just a demo. Okay, that will be costing time. So that's turned into our next stage about the question. Being given enough information, they should and they probably have, and they ought to, expected to, have their own thoughts. Okay, so I'm not going to make an EMI course like purely lecture ones, because when I'm doing lectures like 50 minutes long, that bores not just me but students as well. So I will ask the students to use their own English. Okay, so in my class, there's English will not be not just the instructional tool, but the only communicative mediums for students to use. Okay, so I'll ask the student to everyone in this classroom are not allowed to speak Chinese at all. No Japanese, no Hakka, no whatever languages used to except English. So the first questions I gave is like, discuss your team members whether marriage will be considered as an essential, am I spelling right? Essential stage of life in the future, and provides a descriptive explanations for these considerations. Okay, for 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, and you shouldn't have kind of a passion or intention to show off. So make sure you gave them enough time to express some ideas to everyone. Okay, they will refuse your microphone in the beginning, but they were more than happy to take it afterwards. So make sure that they have chance to show off. And this is another ways of using the application I mentioned like a few minutes ago, the Slido. Okay, so Slido can do not just word cloud, also can do like text, some sort of thing. So here I'm going to ask them what are the major functions of marriage in society. Why do people want people get married. Okay, what's the benefits, or what can marriage be beneficial to society overall? Okay, so this is kind of some of the questions you ask students to discuss within the group, and they're going to feedback and just on the screen. And so you read it out, something like to have a partner. Yeah. That's one of the reasons. Okay, because marriage was the only way. Have you imagined why do we need marriage in the past? Because that was the only way you can legally have sex with someone else permanently without paying. No, it's pricey. Because you pay like all your fortunes on a specific partner. Okay, so also there might be other reasons like because children need to have legal protections, or the heirloom must be passed through legally, lawfully, and specifically to the right person. Okay, if there is no system called marriage, then just imagine after you die, your will goes to somewhere that you're not sure about where it goes. Okay, so that's the thing. So that part, okay, make sure they and the reason why I use this is also to let other people to have a look on what type of answers the others gave. Okay, people are very easy kind of educational or educated species. They can be inspired easily by other people's opinion. Okay, so ideas, concise, more ideas. And that's it. Okay, so make sure we are on the same page. Then we come to the next part. Okay, this is all the answers I've sorted from the sociology kind of textbook. Okay, so since they mentioned so many different functions of marriage, then we jump to the next part by talking about what some sort of answers are nowadays are needed. Okay, and you might find that the majority, overwhelmingly the majority of the options are checked and cancelled, meaning every single needs or every single functions that marriage works or marriage provides can be easily replaced instead nowadays. Okay, so if we are finding that marriage is nowadays is malfunctioned, how do people or how does the society need? For example, sex. Yeah, since we talk about sex, in the past, marriage was the only way for a man to get laid with another woman. Okay, otherwise it will be considered as adultery. But nowadays you have friends that you can have a booty call. You can have different people in the bar and have sex without knowing who he is or who she is. So that's the thing. That's the common way that people get laid or get sexually attached with someone else nowadays. So that after each of the function has been ticked and kicked off from the must-do list of marriage, then why do we need marriage? And how do you convince people to get something that you can even get more profit or in other even more convenient alternatives instead? Okay, so that part will take about 10 minutes to go. Okay, so after they fully discuss and fully involved in talking today, there is another thing. We need to go back to the Asian society, okay? Because since we don't need marriage, okay, the low birth rate is a natural outcome of this phenomenon, and low birth rate will cause even more severe or more serious enhancement of Asian society afterwards, especially when there's no baby. Okay, so those few babies will undertake the majority of the old populations in the future, because those people, those elder people, are unemployed, but they are holding the majority of the wealth or properties in the society. That will causing like working elites very troublesome or not so promising future. Okay, so fewer people would like to get married. Fewer people would like to buy a house, especially when the house is becoming unaffordable nowadays. Okay, but that's another thing. Okay, that's economical concerns about the housing. Okay, so the last part I would like to that's open thing. Okay, I'm going to have an assessment for students to review or to evaluate whether or not they learn or how they use their topics or knowledges that through their conversations. Okay, so I set up a debating sessions last for my assessment, but I'm not going to ask them to stand up and fight with each other. No, I'm going to ask them to debate within their group. Okay, so they're going to divide, like, as I told you that every group is formed of like 3 to 5 people. So we're going to ask them to like have 2 sides in one group, and they're going to debate a little bit. Then they're going to record that kind of sessions or interactions and upload to Moodle as a kind of thing. Because I open the kind of sessions on Moodle as a kind of forums for every single student in this classroom to have chance to watch or to listen to other people's argumentation. Okay, so that's a kind of open debating sessions. You can see on the same topic. There are different ways of expressions being made. Okay, across the class, and I will be quite interesting. I would say interesting, but I would also like Texas challenging process for students to practice a little bit on how well they learn. Okay, so the topic is, if one day your elderly parents willing to choose to move into a nursing home, would you support their decisions? Okay, and by giving the questions, I will also give them some information of how nursing homes is about nowadays. Okay, I will not telling them nursing home was like orphan house or something. No, nursing home is actually quite promising, or I would say I wouldn't say ideal. Okay, because Asian people hate to send their parents into a nursing home, especially when that considered kind of abandoning, and that was a very serious charge for any children to take care. But I will try to also convince them that nursing home was something full of professional medical facilities and professional carings from nurses, from medical staffs. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, because it would be better for them to stay in the house without being taken care properly. Okay, because none of us are experts on taking care of old people. Okay, especially when your bathroom was not very facilitated on that way. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, so I guess that's the thing. That's my course's demo, and each course lasts for about 2 hours. Okay, so separate into different sessions, step by step, providing information, give them chance to involve a little bit, and then they're going to give more deep discussions based on what they've learned. Okay, then that's pretty much my demonstration for today. And next semesters I have a course actually taking place in Jinan. So maybe if we have chance, then welcome you to come here to have a look on how their interaction. I'm sure that you will be amazed by how well and how intelligent those children, I hate to say children, those students are performing. Okay, so I guess that's for today. Thank you.